Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and I would like to welcome you to this week's episode of the World of Gaming and Dutch. After we missed last week's podcast, I'm excited to be back. So I want to welcome our awesome community. A big welcome to you guys. I see familiar names already in the chat. And of course, a big welcome to everyone who listens after the fact, either here on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you are listening. Welcome. And Dutch, my man, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. It's just it was month end at work today, so busy. And unfortunately, being in a sales environment, it means there's a new month starts tomorrow on a Friday.
Yes, it does.
But yeah, otherwise I'm good. I'm good. Tired, but good.
You know, we had a brief chat before the show, right? We have a day off tomorrow, a national holiday here in Germany, so it's already basically the weekend for me. Long weekend ahead. And I learned that you guys in the UK have Star Wars Day on Monday as a holiday.
We do, yeah. May the 4th is our bank holiday weekend this year for me, so may the 4th be with you to everybody in the UK for a nice bank holiday Monday.
Yeah. Sweet. All right. So, Asa is in the chat. Welcome. Great to see you guys. All right, Dutch. I'm a little distracted. What did I want to say? I don't know. Let me welcome the community again.
Yes. And then games of the week.
Yes, exactly. So before we get into actually quite a bit of news, some interesting stuff actually dropped today. Can't wait to talk about that. But before we talk about all the gaming news of the week, we need to talk about the most important thing in gaming, and that are the games that we are playing. Dutch, I have played quite a bit, but before I get into that, what have you been playing, man? And let us know in the chat, what are you guys playing at the moment?
Yeah, I'm letting the gaming community down at the moment because this is it was my first full month as a manager at work, so I've barely had a chance to do any form of gaming. So when I have, it's been very sparse. So a little bit of Porcopia, finished the storyline on that, so that's done. So now it's just a case of having fun and building and expanding upon things. But now it means I can dive into other things as well now because the focus is off that. Finished Pokemon Violet after I finished Scarlet not too long ago as well, so finished that off. Need to finish Leaf Green off. And I've also been diving into a little bit of a bit of Fortnite on Switch as well, just a quick match here and there. But runs really well, plays really well, looks good. But Fortnite is one of those games that could run on a potato and run fine. So
yeah.
It's absolutely. But again, it's just mainly for me, it's just quick things. And I was briefly looking into the sales and things on both Xbox and on Switch. Mainly Switch, just to see if there was anything I wanted to pick up that was a little bit aside from, because Nintendo stuff never goes on sale. Anything that wasn't Nintendo that I wanted to dive in on Switch as well.
Okay.
But nothing there at the moment, but we'll see. And again, just looking at the sales for Xbox and seeing if there's anything that I might be interested in, but nothing yet.
With these sales lately, I find myself, either I do own the games already, right,
yeah.
or they are on Gamepass.
For Nintendo, for me, specifically, it's looking at them and thinking, well, that game's that's not as cheap as I'd want it to be to pick it up. Like, for instance, I picked up Hogwarts on Switch for I think it was £8.
Yeah.
That was an absolute no-brainer. But then, but at the same time that they had that on for £8, I think they had Cyberpunk on for £30, and at that point I was like, no, I'm just gonna go for Hogwarts. But then Cyberpunk went back up to almost the full price, which is £50, and I'm like, nah, I'm not paying £50 for Cyberpunk. It's been out years. I'm like, I don't care if it's new to Switch. I'm still not buying it for £50 on Switch yet. I'll wait for that to be in a deep sale. So yeah, and to be fair, that's part of the reason why I just downloaded Fortnite in the end, because I was going through the sales and I was like, I'm just going to download Fortnite because it's free, so I don't have to pay anything for it. But no, I'm just looking around, and I've seen obviously there's a couple more games dropped in Game Pass this month, but probably going to pick up Game Pass later on in the month again for a month and a bit. Play Forza Horizon.
Yeah.
Try that Kiln out. Play Lost Planet. Planet of Lana 2, which I still haven't played. There's a few things that I need to play, but I'm just going to do it in one foul swoop where I get to play a couple of games all at the same time.
Sure. You need to play Replaced, man.
Yes, yeah, that's one of the ones that's on my list to play when I get Game Pass again this month.
All right, let's see what the community has been playing. Sith Lord has been playing Kiln. Nice. I personally am not really interested in it, but I've seen quite a few people that have played it and are actually enjoying it. It's apparently a really good brawler. Party brawler or whatever they call it, right? Pottery.
Yeah.
Something.
A pottery party brawler.
Yeah. Esky Boy is playing competitive Overwatch at the moment and grinding for gold.
He's reverted back to Overwatch, has he?
Yes, indeed. And his next game on the list is Diablo, the new expansion. Sweet.
Nice.
So yeah, man. I have played quite a bit. I finished off Crimson Desert, right? Absolutely awesome game. One of the best games I have played in a long time, honestly. It's one of the very rare titles that get probably very close to a 10 for me. It is that good. It has a lot of flaws. It's not a perfect game, you know. You can argue about, story being not really super deep. You could argue some of the mechanics, or the controls feel a little complex or not very fluent. Right. There are definitely things you could argue, but overall, the game is just pure fun. The discoverability of stuff, the exploration, the set pieces, the diversity in gameplay mechanics, right? From awesome riddles to all kinds of fun little mini games, of crazy sandbox experiences to epic battles, to it's just there's so much in this game and I enjoyed every second of it. And I usually, when I finish a single player game, I just uninstall and move on, right? I kept this installed because I still come back to do this side quest or just explore this region that I haven't been in yet, because there's still a third of the map that I haven't unraveled, even after 150 hours and finishing the game and a lot of side quests, right? It's just massive and absolutely fantastic. So I finished that off, then went to Replaced. I finished that as well the other day. Replaced, great little indie game, definitely. Think I gave it an 8 or 8.5 or something. Can be, especially the combat can become a little repetitive, right? And the platforming doesn't always feel like super precise. But overall, it is a beautiful game with a great soundtrack and actually a really good story. And I had fun playing it. Took me about, I want to say, plus minus 10 hours. Need to check how long it actually took me, but that was definitely worth a playthrough. I mean, after 5 years or whatnot, waiting for that game, I was really excited and I didn't get disappointed. It is nothing like a masterpiece or something. I've seen a couple of people online like, oh, this needs to win Game of the Year. Definitely not, but it is absolutely worth playing it, right? Yeah. Whether you play it on Game Pass or spend the $20 for it, it is absolutely worth playing. Then I went back to Starfield, booted up the new DLC. Right. I have only played like the first couple of missions in the quest line because then Diablo came out. But Starfield is fantastic. I mean, I really love Starfield, and they've changed quite a bit of like nothing major, but these little refinements now. It still looks fantastic, runs fantastic on the console. And I will be definitely continuing with that over the long weekend here. But then, Diablo dropped the DLC, and I have not finished the campaign yet, the new story campaign. I'm about, I want to say, like 10 hours in or so into that now. And that is absolutely awesome, dude. They've changed quite a lot in Diablo. I mean, I've been playing almost all the seasons, right? It's one of these games that whenever a new season drops, I come in, max one character out, dabble around in the end game, then don't play it for 2 months, and when the next season drops, I'm back for a week or two. So I've kept track on what they have done with the game over the last couple of years, in the last 13 seasons or so. But this is definitely the biggest change they have done easily. They've overhauled like so much from the skill tree. Even all existing characters get completely new skill trees. They've changed a lot of the loot mechanics, right? There are charms are back. You have like these what's the box called where you can like mix things, Horatory Cube. They've brought that back. Then they've added a great new campaign. Actually, the Lord of Hatred campaign is on par, if not even better, than the main game storyline.
Yeah.
Really good, beautiful new locations. Like, some areas remind me a little bit of Blood and Wine from The Witcher, just from the set pieces with the super green grass and the super blue turquoise water, and stuff like that. Great new locations. They've had and some really cool boss fights with like really new mechanics. Where there was like, I don't want to spoil too much, but there was like one boss fight I had where for the love of God, I couldn't figure out why I can't beat the guy, right? And then I realized that that the mechanic is like you deal damage, and with that you punch basically the soul out of this guy, and you need to catch the soul in order to continue to do damage. And it's like like they've changed and they've the different kind of boss fights like that, where it's not just there's the boss, deal as much damage as you can, and if you can survive, you finished it. Like real boss fights with certain mechanics in it, and I love that. So I can't wait to see what the end game looks like. I think I'm close to finishing the campaign now. Maybe another 2 or 3 hours or so, and then I should be finished with the campaign. But yeah, Diablo 4, absolutely fantastic, man. Absolutely fantastic. So
nice.
Yeah, I've been quite busy playing games lately. Let's see. H. Julia sends in a channel member chat here for being a channel member for 27 months. So first of all, thank you so much for the continued support. And the member chat says he's playing Pragmata and Resident Evil Requiem. Yeah, man. I mean,
Nice.
Requiem is awesome. Absolutely.
I've heard good things about Pragmata as well, to be fair.
Yeah, same here. Honestly, from the trailers and previews and so, I wasn't super intrigued, but I've seen so many people being really happy with that.
It's well priced as well. I think it's like
Yeah.
$40 or something.
Yeah. I mean, Capcom is on a roll lately, definitely. So I'm really thinking of giving Pragmata a chance, man. Yeah. Prince Green in the chat says, I still didn't even play Diablo 4 yet, and I have 2 of the DLC. Yeah, you definitely should.
Oh, it's well worth the play. Even the standard campaign's really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Prince Green also says, Kiln is actually kind of fun when I tried it. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that. Luke is in the chat, and he's finished Pragmata. Is nearly done with Replaced and started Saros and also playing Mouse PI. Nice. Saros, not for me. I was kind of disappointed by what's the first one? Returnal, thank you. So I'm not convinced here, but I hear a lot of good things about Mouse PI as well. Lots to play lately, dude. Lots to play there. And I mean Forza is around the corner, right?
Yeah.
And then James Bond is coming. The previews are out. Did you see any of those?
I just
2 hours ago.
One popped up on my phone. I think it was ACG's preview of it. Popped up on my phone earlier. And I haven't seen it yet.
2 or 3 hours ago, the embargoes for the preview dropped. I've not watched any videos yet. Didn't have the chance to do that before the show, but I've read a couple of summaries on Twitter and such. It's getting great previews, dude. A lot of different previewers put it as a potential GOTY contender. They compare it Hitman meets Uncharted, right? It's apparently really good. So, yeah, man, lots of stuff to come and play. All right, Dutch, let's get into some topics. Good news for all Xbox Rock Alley owners. Just a couple of hours ago, the new update dropped for Xbox Alley owners, featuring quite a bit of stuff. There's different things like docking improvements when you dock your Rock Xbox Alley to a TV. Where it turns off the Rock Alley X display and then only supports the TV with automatic game enhancements on smart TVs, like turning on HDR10 and stuff like that. Improved controller pairing, stuff like that. Then super wideband stereo voice, different kind of driver for the audio. You get collective libraries where you can manually add games from other PC storefronts to your library. Enhanced vibration. Couple of new advanced shader delivery titles, stuff like that. But there's one thing in this update that I personally have been waiting for, and that's the thing I want to talk to you about real quick, man. They have added auto super resolution just in preview so far with this update. But this is, kind of an interesting thing here because that automatic super resolution has been, labeled as Microsoft's DLSS competitor. I don't know if that's fair to state, because I mean DLSS is pretty far ahead. But however, the ROG Xbox LE, we know that has an NPU built in. And it has been disabled so far, and with that they are enabling that. And the interesting thing about automatic super resolution from Microsoft is that it's the only and first ever upscaler that is built in natively in the OS, in this case of course in Windows. Because every other upscaler, whether it's DLSS or FSR or Intel's XeSS and so on, they all need to be built into the game, and the developers actually have to do the respective work to put those upscalers in their games. And automatic super resolution is designed and built into Windows, and it works on games that are not designed with DLSS or FSR or anything like that in mind. So no need from the developers, no work needed from developer side, to use for Auto SR to work. And I think that is quite an interesting thing. They expect frame rate boosts of up to 30%. Right, you can turn it on in your overlay setting on the Xbox LEX in the game bar. There's just a toggle, turn it on, and it works on every game. Right, how good it will work? Well, we shall see. Probably everyone's waiting for the analysis of Digital Foundry and things like that. However, I find that quite interesting, because it proposes a very interesting idea that an AI-based upscaler, right, leveraging an actually NPU, on AMD doesn't call it tensor cores. I always forget how they call it. The tensor cores of AMD. Are now basically unlocked in the ROG Xbox LEX, which I mean makes total sense, especially in a handheld device. If it's not for better resolution or frame rates, it definitely helps you to improve battery life, right? So makes total sense. But the proposal of an upscaler built into an OS, quite interesting. And I think we all know that the Xbox LEX and Xbox LES, of course, are, although this one doesn't have it, so it's actually just a ROG LEX kind of thing, is basically the test case for the next gen Xbox, right? Project Helix, we all assume it will probably run a very similar thing like the Xbox experience on the ROG Xbox LEX. So what are your thoughts, dude, on this?
I mean, it's a nice improvement to have for those with the ROG Xbox Ally X. We'll see how it implements. Like you say, it's in early testing. It's a feature that is in preview, so we'll see how it goes on. And obviously, they'll just refine that as time goes on, and then no doubt roll that out further to actual Windows, I would imagine, at some point, and desktop PCs where it'll come in handy. But test bed that is the Xbox Ally X.
You think they will roll that out across Windows? Because so far they've been very careful on how explaining how it actually works, right? But from what I understood, and this is my personal interpretation now, from all the things I've read about it, is it doesn't work on every NPU. It wouldn't work on an NVIDIA NPU. At the moment, I mean, who knows in the future? It wouldn't work on an Intel NPU. It wouldn't even work on every AMD NPU, right? So I'm not sure if they can roll that like as a standard out to Windows, and how optimized AutoSR actually is for a certain kind of NPU. But yeah, who knows what brings the future, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, it's a preview, it's a test bed. It's a very good chance we've got this nice refined little market here where we can just test out this feature and see how it goes, and then we work on a grander scale version of it.
Yeah, definitely. By the way, we have the game tester in the chat and he says, Dutch, I'm your biggest fan.
Hi, Maurice. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting. Let's see how it actually performs. I didn't have the chance to check it out. I'm in the preview build, but yeah, it literally dropped like 2 hours, 3 hours before the show, the update. So didn't have the chance to download it and check it out. But it is quite a promising thing. What do you think about the idea of developers not having to deal with it to implement it, or that it works on an OS level?
I'm sure developers will be over the moon that they don't have to fiddle around with it and it can just be automatically put in. I suppose then on the only flip side there is, of course, developers will say, well, it's got nothing to do with this if the performance isn't where it's meant to be. It's down to whoever's creating that item for you. So, but it's a lot of refinement. Like I say, developers, I'm sure, will be happy that people get to play their games at better performance levels and better resolutions, thanks to a product that Microsoft have rolled out themselves. Free product, that is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've been very vocal, especially at GDC this year, on how to make lives easier for developers. I mean, nothing new. Yeah, we've heard that from Xbox for many years now. But this is definitely, or it does sound like something. If it works, and I don't share the premise that a lot of the outlets, bigger outlets I've seen, they put it out as Microsoft's DLSS competitor. I don't think that it will rival that.
No, but what I will say is, if you have a look at a lot of modern PC games now, if you have a look at super resolution, and where it used to be maybe 1 or 2 items, it's got about 6, 7, 8 different versions of super resolution that you can use and from different people, and whether it's Intel, AMD, Nvidia, whether it's something else. There's so many different options now for super resolution. So it's great to have more options, because again, if people don't have access to a high level Nvidia or that has DLSS built in, or to the latest AMD with the latest AMD FSR in, or if they don't have access to these higher cards with these higher things, then or even an Intel chip, for instance, might be on a different chip altogether, and they don't have Intel XeSS, there might be something else there for them now.
Yeah.
And again, having more options for super resolution to get more people having the ability to scale games it's a good thing. It can only be a good thing.
Absolutely. I mean, AMD's FSR as well as Intel's XeSS are two prominent upscalers that are hardware agnostic, right? Already, which I think.
I think FSR wasn't originally, though. FSR up until was it 4?
No. It always has been. FSR has always it's actually changing. FSR 4 is the first one that is tied to the AMD RDNA 5 architecture.
Oh, sorry, I was getting mixed up here. I was thinking, wait a second, it was always it wasn't always hardware. It was mainly software based.
It was software based, exactly. I mean, probably one of the reasons why it never Intel's XeSS or exactly compared to DLSS. However, especially for those not having an Intel an Nvidia card, right? Definitely a thing. But I agree with you that there are so many options now out. I mean, the 3 prominent are DLSS, FSR and Intel's XeSS. On top of that, you have, at least on PlayStation, their version of PSSR, right? Also a proprietary thing that developers then have to, optimize for, build in. And even if Microsoft's AutoSR now is not on the same level as a DLSS, right, or something like that, the sheer fact that there's no work from the developers required, you turn it on yourself on the system level. That is a very interesting proposal, right? So and I mean, again, I think it's gonna be a blueprint for something we will see on the next hardware, Xbox console hardware, right? So we will definitely keep an eye out how it actually performs, and I will try it out over the weekend myself.
See if it makes any of your games look prettier.
Yeah, absolutely. Or run better.
Yeah.
Or
both.
Absolutely. Both. All right, Dutch. We missed last week's podcast. Was quite funny. So we were chatting like Wednesday last week. So we both need to work late, and there hasn't been much news except the one news bit, the game price drop. And then, literally the day after our podcast, all hell break loose in terms of news. So we'll get to that. But one thing that happened last Thursday, actually during our regular podcast time, right, was the Assassin's Creed Black Flag reveal. Resynced has gotten its little showcase, 20 minutes or so of deep dive into Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced. So, what were your thoughts? I mean, I know it's already considered old news, right? It's been a week, but before we get into the major topics, let me hear your thoughts, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very, very popular, and still is to this day, a very popular Assassin's Creed game. Yeah, people have been crying out for a long time for a remake / reskin, upscale, remaster, whatever it is. They've been crying out for a new version of Black Flag, or a return to Black Flag, like a Black Flag 2. But a reimagining, a resync, a remake of the original, without changing anything of the original game. So it's still very much the same story. It's just obviously a completely remade in terms of its visual fidelity and its performance, and as far as I'm aware from what I've seen and read anyway, it doesn't change any of the mechanics or anything of the game. It doesn't make it any more open world than it was.
No.
It's still very much exactly the same game. It's just, again, being remade for modern audiences, and like I say, it's a fan favourite, so I'm happy for them, and it's probably one I'll buy on sale. I won't be buying it immediately because I own Black Flag, like most people do.
Yeah, I do own it too.
So I won't jump on it immediately, but I will jump on it at some point down the line.
I mean, pardon. It depends, of course, on what else is coming out at the time. But the July release is fantastic so far, and I really enjoyed Black Flag. I love that they didn't make it into an open world Assassin's Creed RPG. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy those Assassin's Creeds as well. Odyssey and or Shadows also from last year was absolutely fantastic. However, I'm down for the more streamlined Assassin's Creed again, and Black Flag is a good one. They've changed a little bit on the combat side, right? Make it more modern, more fluent, which does sound good. And they took actually quite some work to do it. They re-recorded new chanties, for your crew to sing while you sail. So they put in quite some work. Rebuilt it in the latest Anvil engine, right? Looks phenomenal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Probably going to subscribe for a month to Ubisoft Plus, right? And just play it through that. And definitely, I'm very interested in this. So yeah. And while we are on the subject of Assassin's Creed, right? Ubisoft also made some headlines this week with Assassin's Creed Hexe, which is the next one in the series, right? They've let go 50 developers and the game director left there. Even though the game is still slated for 27, so supposed to come out next year, they've reduced the team quite a bit there. So you worried about Hexe, or you think they'll manage?
No, Ubisoft always manage this. Even though they've downscaled the team, they'll probably just outsource it to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what they're like.
Yeah.
They'll just outsource it to somebody. That's all they'll do.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm actually very interested in Hexe because, hey, Assassin's Creed is finally coming to Germany, right? Medieval Germany. The Hexe means witch in German.
Yeah.
Right? It's in a medieval setting, you know, where the witch burnings and stuff happened. And I'm actually looking forward to it. We hear different things about it, right? Some say, of course, it's going to continue in the, open world thing. And other reports actually say it's going back to be a more linear experience, like what was that Assassin's Creed called? They released in between Valhalla and Shadows, the shorter one. I'm blanking on the name right now. Anyway, yeah, maybe it's going to be a more linear one. So we don't know yet. However, I always enjoy the Assassin's Creed games. So yeah, let's see how Shadows turns out.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, and there is the rumor that after the Black Flag remake, they are going to tackle Assassin's Creed 1 as a remake. Would you be interested in that?
Nah. No, I wasn't a big fan of the original Assassin's Creeds, to be fair. I'm more... I know it's heathenish to say it, but I'm definitely more on the new school. I prefer the new school over the old school.
Okay. I mean, the first one was, at its time, right, quite amazing what they've achieved with the traversal system, the stealth mechanics, and an interesting story proposal and everything. I mean, it had its flaws, right, which they basically all fixed with the second one. That's why the second one is one of the most famous in the series. But I'd be interested in that. I find it interesting to see that Ubisoft is apparently now also going into the, remake stuff, because for all the shit that people give Ubisoft, they've never really done remakes or remasters of any of their games. They've just released patches, free patches, 60 FPS, 4K patches on almost all their games for free. They've never went down the route of, here's a remaster, buy it again on full price to get the 60 FPS kind of thing, like almost every other publisher does. And Ubisoft has never been in that game. I mean, again, Black Flag really is a full-on remake, made in a new engine, re-recorded or newly recorded chanties, and updated the combat system. They've added a couple of new quest lines. There's a Blackbeard quest line, for instance, that they have added, right? Stuff like that. So it's at least a full fledged remake, not just like one of these remasters. And if they went back to some of their old classics, like Assassin's Creed 1, which is now also, I want to say, at least 20 years old, right? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? If not older. When did the original Assassin's Creed come out? Let me Google this. Real quick. 2007. Yeah, so almost 20 years. Yeah. Yeah, and good stuff there. Good stuff there. All right, let's move on from Assassin's Creed. Since we missed last week's podcast, let's talk quickly about the Gamepass price drop before we get into all the other Xbox news that happened over the weekend. Dutch, about 6 months ago, right? Microsoft raised the Game Pass price quite a bit. Yeah.
Yep.
Percentage differs from market to market. Went up from 14 euros here in Germany to 27. That's almost doubling of the price. In the United States, I think it went up to $30. I don't know the UK didgeridoo that you have. Pounds. How much?
It's $21.99.
$21.99. There you go. 22 pounds there. Quite the massive price increase. Yeah, and you can argue, and we've talked about this, you can argue, well, they've added Ubisoft Classic and Fortnite The Crew and stuff like that. But overall, it was just an insane price increase, right? And just a couple of weeks ago, Asha came out and said, well, it's not the pricing that they need, right? And so what they did is they removed Call of Duty, and here in Germany the price went down then to 22 euros now. Not sure what it's in the US, probably somewhere in that ballpark, $22 now or so. So they've reduced the price by removing Call of Duty from Game Pass. Yeah, Call of Duty will be added about a year later. However, no day and date for Call of Duty anymore. And with that, they've reduced the price significantly. So what are your thoughts on this before I give my opinion there?
Good. Because I don't care about Call of Duty. As brutal as that sounds, I literally don't care about Call of Duty. And this, for a lot of people, it will be the same. They noticed all it did was the complete opposite of what they thought it would do, really, and that's put people off getting the service, because it was just becoming too costly, and especially those that wanted just Call of Duty. Would it be worth it at that price? Probably not. Would you invest in it at that price? Probably not. No. I know I didn't. I was like, nah, it's becoming too costly and I'm not using it as much.
Yeah.
So I'll just get it on a month-by-month basis. So that reducing now, going forwards, there's more chance of me picking it back up again as a monthly subscription than just an ad hoc, I'll get it this month, I'll stop it this month.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I mean, we've talked about the price increase quite a bit, and you and I both said, well, at 27 euros, 22 pounds in the UK, and $30, the Game Pass price is too high for it to be just one of the subscriptions that you have and let it run, right?
Yeah.
It used to be 13, 14 euros here in Germany a month. And at that price point, you just keep it because it's for these 14 to save $14. Do I really always think about it every month? You know, you just let it run Yeah, it's with probably with a lot of the subscriptions. Sometimes I don't watch anything on Disney Plus for a month or so. Yeah, because I don't know, involved watching a series right now on Netflix, and then I just let it run. But at $30 a month, 27 euros a month, that is not the case anymore.
Nope.
And you really think about this. Do I get 27 euros worth of content every month? Of course you get it in May when a Forza Horizon drops, right? Or when Halo drops, probably in June. My guess is still June for Halo, along with the showcase.
I would say that as well.
Even though some insiders claim July, I'm sticking with June. Anyway, then yes, but look at my April. I bought Crimson Desert day one. I played it for 150 hours, and I haven't played anything else in that month. And didn't touch anything in Game Pass, didn't play anything else. Complete waste of money. And at $30, you start to consider that, right? And then the question, of course, is you originally subscribed to Game Pass because you're getting the day-and-date titles, and you're getting some cool indie titles in there, and some cool AA games in there. And that was the reason. And then suddenly Call of Duty comes in. I personally am not a Call of Duty player. And I would argue probably a lot of other Game Pass subscribers are not the typical Call of Duty guys. I play Call of Duty for the campaign. I enjoy it 5-6 hours, right? Bam, move on. A lot of the Call of Duty players are, the casuals, the ones that buy that game and then play it the entire year until the next one comes out. Maybe switch to FIFA in between, or a Fortnite match, but that's their game, right? Is it worth it for them to subscribe to Game Pass rather than just straight out buy it? No. And now with that Game Pass drop, even if you buy Call of Duty, you're still saving money because they've reduced the price of Game Pass more than if you buy a Call of Duty at full price once a year, right? So it's a win-win situation there, and definitely the right move. But I do have the question, Dutch. ABK.
Yep.
I know we both had the very unpopular opinion during this whole acquisition phase that, it's interesting to see what is happening there. But are we excited for it? Not really. Because we both argued for the almost 2 years that we had this acquisition phase, right? That it really raises the question, what are we getting as gamers? We got a lot more as fans from the Bethesda ZeniMax acquisition. But Activision Blizzard King is Call of Duty. Blizzard is every 10 years a Diablo game. So Diablo 4 is now 4 years old. It will take at least 6-7 more years until we get Diablo 5, at least. And King is mobile games. Who cares about mobile games? This acquisition was about Call of Duty, right? And if you're not a big Call of Duty guy, we didn't get much out of this whole acquisition. Bunch of older games. Not all of them, but a couple of older games that have been dropped in Game Pass. But in terms of new games, we're not getting anything outside of Call of Duty. And that is now removed from Game Pass. So I would still raise the question. It didn't help us gamers. All it made, all that that came out of it is that after Microsoft spending $75 billion, it's on the way more. The Xbox division is way more in the focus of general Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
And that hasn't turned out so well so far. I mean, a couple of changes might come. We'll talk about that later, but so far, yeah. So I'm totally cool with that. I would be a strong advocate of them removing Fortnite the Crew again, remove Ubisoft Classics again, and reduce the price back to the ballpark where it was, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd begin with that.
Yeah. Paul AFC is sending in a channel member chat for being a channel member for Dutch. Hold your breath. 59 months.
Christ.
Dude. Absolutely
That's
awesome.
almost
The continued.
like literally one short of 5 years.
Yes.
Holy moly.
Holy moly. Thank you so much, Paul AFC, for the
It also
absolute...
makes me feel old, by the way.
Yeah, dude. We are getting older.
So thanks for that, Paul.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But he says, good evening, Boxy and Dutch. Hope you are both well. Thank you, man. Yes, indeed, we are well. We are well. Thank you. Hope you too, man. And I hope everyone else is doing well too. Yeah, Dutch. So the interesting thing is, and I don't know that Game Pass has been a topic in a lot of podcasts this year for us, right? And I feel like we are Game Pass whisperers. Because I remember a month ago or so, we had the discussion on what they would need to change about Game Pass. And you proposed the idea of Game Pass needs a tier that only includes the first party titles, right?
Yep.
And 2 days later, Jez Gordon revealed via Windows Central article, well, Microsoft is looking heavily into a tier that is first party only, right? So, Good shout there. And 2 weeks ago, we talked about Game Pass. Can't really remember the context, however. I remember now. Where Asha said, they want to make Game Pass more flexible. And I said, I proposed to you the idea of Game Pass being an a la carte service, right? Remember that? Where I said Game Pass should only offer a one tier base subscription for, I don't know, $5 or so. And then you can choose what you want on top of that. You want Call of Duty Day 1? Okay, that makes another $5 a month. You want Xbox first party titles? Another $10 a month. And you want Fortnite the Crew? You can get that for $4 a month or something like that. Yeah. Pick and choose what extra tiers you want. And guess what? Literally 3 days after our podcast, I open up my phone and I see an article there on Windows Central. Microsoft is investigating this a la carte service for Game Pass.
Of course they are. Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it only makes sense, right? So
of course it does.
Of course it does. So, yeah, now I'm heavily...
We are. I think they just listen. They don't want to admit it, but they just listen to our podcast and they just listen for ideas.
I honestly trust in Jez Gordon. It's absolutely. But with a lot of other so-called insiders.
More Xbox. I think more Xbox just listen to us. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that could also be. 100%. But I honestly, sometimes I just laugh about some of these insiders, right, that claim to have inside knowledge when this is just an absolutely educated guess that everyone who is remotely interested in gaming and the gaming industry could have made. I mean, you could have claimed here, sitting there, hey, they might be looking into Gamepass first party only tier because it only makes sense and it's an educated guess. And you could have also claimed, I have my inside sources, and and sometimes I feel like they
do that next time.
These fake insiders just listen to podcasts like us. That is an interesting idea. I'm just going to claim that, right?
I'm going to do that next time. I'm just going to say my insider says, and then it comes to fruition because for some reason it seems to happen every time. So
yeah. So. All right, Dutch.
It's been like a running track record, though. Have you not noticed? Every time we say something is going to happen, it seems to come to fruition.
Yeah, some way or another.
We were talking about this is specifically after Gamescom. We were on the podcast and we were like, we can't really say what we were talking about, but we think they're working on a handheld. And then, lo and behold, they're working on a handheld. Yeah. And then the Xbox ROG Ally X came out. Yeah. Well, it was the Xbox Ally first, and then it was the Xbox Ally X.
The Xbox, the original Ally already was out because I remember playing that on. Absolutely, man. Again, like a lot of these leaks, and there are trusted insiders. I mean, your guys like Jess Corden, or your Tom Hendersons, they've been proven. Yeah, they have their sources and they leak stuff. And especially Chess is like careful with what he leaks, right? From which sources he leaks and stuff. But a lot of other so-called insiders, they just make stuff up. It's educated guesses everyone can make, right?
Yeah.
Like I could also sit here and claim, my sources tell me that Halo is going to release along or in the launch window or around the showcase, because I mean it's a 50-50 chance that it might happen, right? And then if I'm wrong, I'm just claim that was originally the plan, but plans changed, right? It's always a good excuse for your predictions that you wrap in the fact of being inside knowledge actually not coming true, right? It is what it is. Dutch, let us stay with Xbox, because over the weekend it was like literally you could open up every 3-4 hours Twitter or your news portals, and there was something new around Xbox. They had an internal memo that was sent out from Asha. They've posted a big blog post about their future strategic approach to a lot of things. Then GameFile published a big interview with Asha. And so there were quite a bunch of, interesting things that we learned over the last weekend, right? And I want to dissect this with you. So first of all, Xbox is back. They have back again. They have this internal slogan now: "We are Xbox," right? They've shared pictures of how they redecorated the headquarters and everything. They have a new logo and so on. Every Xbox employee is now getting an email address at xbox.com, not at microsoft.com. Microsoft Gaming is no more. It's Xbox again, right? Internally. So for us on the outside, right, as customers, obviously that really doesn't change much. However, honestly, of course, and we will get to some of the infos that they've shared, what they intend to do and want to change, and how they look at things now under Asha and the new leadership. One thing that this We Are Xbox brings into the community is excitement. And honestly, I haven't seen the community this excited for the brand for, I want to say, at least 2 years. I mean, it's been a bit more than 2 years now when they first had the first games move over to PlayStation. Remember, they did this little interview where Phil came out, it's only the 4 games. And then plans change, and all hell break loose. I mean, that was obviously one of the low points in the community. A lot of people super frustrated with Xbox, and it wasn't just because of that move, but this was kind of like the last drop that made the barrel spill the shit. And because over the last couple of years, Xbox really hasn't put much focus on the classic Xbox experience, the console, the community, the once great communication towards the community, the regular updates. Remember back in even during the Xbox One days, right? They had these regular updates, and there's something new. Might be something small, but there's always something around Xbox to talk about. They've been actively engaged with the community. And that kind of disappeared. Yeah, and during the Xbox Series generation, that whole shift towards this is an Xbox, everything is an Xbox anymore. They kind of lost their identity, their brand identity. They've lost the focus on the community. And that is, for me, still to this day, the biggest differentiator towards PlayStation. PlayStation is the bigger brand on a global scale, especially as someone coming from Europe. Obviously, PlayStation is so much bigger here. And it is not just because of the games. The biggest differentiator for me always was the community focus. Back in the 360 days, remember Major Nelson with the podcast. PlayStation didn't have something like that. But it kept the brand engaged in what the community want. They have been innovating in the gaming space from the OG Xbox days, right? They were the first one. I mean, Dreamcast, kind of had online, but the first one to introduce a proper online service there. They had the achievement system, right? They were the first console to introduce apps, like YouTube and Netflix apps on a console back in the days, making this whole idea bigger than that. They had the focus on community engaging games with Halo, Halo 2 online, dude, right? We didn't have that on console, and all that, it was always community focused. They had their ups and downs, the Xbox One launch, and we'll talk later about DRM because that's also apparently coming back. But then Phil took over and he brought backwards compatibility to us. They had an absolutely fantastic mid-gen upgrade in the One X. I still feel like the jump from the 360 to the Xbox One didn't feel as significant as from the Xbox One to the One X, right?
No, definitely not. No.
They had all these updates from FPS boost, auto HDR for games, stuff like that. Community engaged, positivity, and so on. They acquired all these studios because they wanted to focus on being a bigger publisher, left everyone excited. Yeah, they launched the Series X as the most powerful console at the time. Obviously, now the PS5 Pro took that ground as but it's also something. They didn't do a mid-gen upgrade. Console for not focus anymore. Cloud was important, and the TV apps, and being able to play Xbox on your refrigerator, and right. They've lost this engagement with the community. Even though they always said we are listening, we could tell for many years now they really don't. They really don't. When was the last time they really listened to the community? Yeah, and I think this losing exclusives thing, bringing games to PlayStation, was the last straw. And so now with this, we are Xbox. And we are not Microsoft Gaming anymore. We are Xbox, right? I know it doesn't impact us directly. It doesn't change anything. Yeah. But the sheer fact is one of the steps that got the community excited again. And so and after Phil leaving, I mean, we all know Phil probably saved Xbox. If it wasn't for Phil, after the horrible Xbox One launch, we wouldn't have anything Xbox anymore. If it wasn't for Phil. But in the team with Sarah Bond in the last couple of years, they kind of lost track on that. And there are multiple reasons for that. Yeah, it's from Microsoft putting more focus on this gaming division and giving Amy Hood handing out like insane financial targets, to like this idea of chasing imaginary customers. Remember, we want to reach 3 billion gamers wherever they play, you know, imaginary customers, rather instead of focusing on the customers you have and trying to grow those in a healthy way. And I know that also from Microsoft's point of view, this has changed now, and Asha is in a different position now than Phil has been 3 years ago after the ABK acquisition, where he needed to make back the money they've spent. Yeah. So. Yeah. Anyway, I feel like there is a new energy in the room, and we get to a couple of the things Asha said and Xbox said over the last couple of days. However, before we get into that, Dutch, what is your feeling around this? The brand, the excitement, the spirit in the room. What are your thoughts, dude?
I mean, I'm trying not to be pessimistic about it, because ultimately my key thing here is I've heard it all before. It sounds so pessimistic, it really does, but I've heard a lot of chat all before from Xbox. And I don't want to get carried away with the, look at all how positive we are, and we're changing back to Xbox, and this is Xbox, and we're doing X, Y, and Z, and it's all great on the face of things, but let's see how it pans out, because this is just a lot of verbal fluff right now. It's a load of, look, we're going back to Xbox instead of Microsoft Gaming, we're going back to this and doing this. Great. How does the end product change? How does that affect me? And ultimately what we said with the ActiBliz acquisition was, I don't care about the rest of the fluff that goes on and the to and fro. How does this affect me? How does this affect me as a consumer?
It's
and
fair.
What impacts will it have on me, like benefits? And right now, it's all lovely to see them saying these things, but ultimately, what the proof will be in the pudding, how does this affect us at the end of the day? Right now, it has no impact on us. When it will have an impact on us will be maybe 12 months down the line, when some of these things that they're implementing now will start to take effect. So we'll have to see over the course of the next 6 to 12 months how this actually affects us. The one good positive recently, as we've mentioned, is the Gamepass price changing them almost immediately. So they're kind of removing that and saying, okay, we're getting Call of Duty out of there going forward, and we're going to revert back to this now. So Call of Duty won't be in there going forwards, and you will get them a year later. Fine, I don't mind. I don't usually play Call of Duties till a year later anyway when they're on a deep sale. so that doesn't affect me. So yeah, it's nice to hear the right things in positive language, but ultimately I'm not going to get carried away.
That's fair. I mean, honestly, I'm willing to give Asha the benefit of a doubt here, because everyone has been questioning, is she the right one, right? That AI bot that comes over there. But in the first 2 months, 65 days or so now, right? That she's in the office. For that super short period of time, right? She has already done quite a couple of things, right?
Yeah.
Updates are back. Yeah, minor things, yes, nothing like groundbreaking. But they've updated the achievement system. They've updated a couple of customization options for us. Things that people have been asking for quite a while. Yeah, and we've gotten these updates. She got rid of this horrible "this is an Xbox ad" campaign. Yeah,
yeah.
That campaign has been out for, I want to say, almost 2 years now. 1.5 years at least, right?
Yeah.
The community has been super vocal how bad that is. But the Xbox didn't listen, didn't care, right? And suddenly, now under Asha, they do care. Game Pass price drop. Yeah, everyone was frustrated with the super expensive Game Pass price, and she took action, right?
Yeah.
And yes, a lot of the things are still only like verbal commitments, but so far, if she was able to change that much within the first 60 days, let's see what she can actually achieve within a year or two until the next launch, right? So I'm willing to give. I understand your pessimism, and I think that's rightfully deserved. Yeah, I also feel like this. I've said this to you in the green room before the show, right? I feel like I feel like everyone's just waiting for Xbox to step on the next rake after they are now on a high streak for a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, like, we are so used to this. Whenever there's good news around Xbox, they actively search for rakes to step on and then just screw it up. This is how we are used to it for a couple of years now. Yeah. And so, but I like that the community is excited again. And I'm not just talking about the console warriors, but there's like literally, when I turn on Twitter, a lot more positive energy in the room. In my timeline is a lot more people are excited again about the brand. People are excited about the games. and not just the negativity. And I think that is also a very good thing, because as much as I enjoy gaming, I also enjoy interacting with the community, and I like a positive community. I like this energy in the room. But let's see. What did she say? There was a big interview in GameFile, and there was a big blog post that is titled "We Are Xbox," where they explain what they want to do. So I want to read from the GameFile interview, because one quote is definitely that Asha Sharma aims to restore the core. And this is what she had to say. The big things that we are thinking about are we want to make great games. The return of Xbox really came from an ethos of we have to restore the core. We have to restore the core fundamentals of our product and console. We have to restore the core and increase our strength on PC. We need to overhaul the discovery and search, etc., etc. That's very similar to what they posted on the Xbox blog, right? So yeah, I mean, obviously clear. Then and I find that very interesting. She talked about pricing, and she wants to have pricing that works for everyone. And she had to say the following: I think there's a lot of different people around the world that have different needs. I think historically our pricing hasn't been as flexible. I think that's the big thing we want to work on. You saw that with Game Pass. It had become too expensive. So we took a step to address that. I want to continue to make sure as we build hardware, software, services, we are spending just as much time on performance and playtime as we are making sure that we can innovate to offer more affordable devices and hardware and services. And so there's a reality to the market that we are in. There's no promises around what the price points are or anything like that, but I want to make sure that people around the world are able to play. Find that a very interesting quote because, prices, very interesting. We already talked about Game Pass prices. Game prices itself have also increased. And yes, inflation everywhere and everything has to do with that. Then we have the hardware prices, right? Xbox raised the prices twice, as did PlayStation. Switch already launched at a high price. And Switch 2 is probably going to see a price increase there as well. Yeah, the Steam Machine is still not out yet or even announced with a release date or price yet because of RAM prices and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And so what do you expect they from them if she wants to follow up? I mean, she is honest. I'm not making any promises here. Yeah. There's no promises around what the price points are or anything like that. That is what she said. But they are definitely looking into that. How can they make it more affordable? I think we already touched on Game Pass earlier. Yeah, I would love that idea of like an a la carte service. And I just choose the tiers and things in Game Pass I want. And that affects my price. What do you expect in terms of hardware prices?
I still fully believe that the hardware will be around about $1,000.
The next gen Xbox?
Yep, next gen Xbox, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I agree. I think it will be above that. I honestly, I think it will be.
I think the whole looking at the budget aspect is to do with the day-to-day as opposed to the hardware itself. I think looking at the budget has got much more to do with the software, maybe the subscriptions, the way things, such as potentially looking into scrapping the cost for online play, and kind of having a Xbox Live as itself to be free.
I mean, see, if we're talking next gen prices, again, I expect it to be above 1,000. 1,100, I don't know, but somewhere in that ballpark, from everything we know so far, with them really aiming for very, very capable hardware, with the fact that RAM prices across the globe are exploding. If it wasn't just pure bullshit, marketing bullshit with the most powerful console, it will be in that ballpark. I mean, you see it, the PS5 Pro is now at 900 euros. And if you include the stand, you are already at the point where you have almost €1,000 console. So, of course, I expect that. I mean, there are two questions that we need to answer there, right? The first is, of course, how much will Xbox go back to having subsidized hardware? Because that has been, I mean, if you go back to the 360 days, right? If they would have launched the 360 as a non-subsidized console, that would have been easily $200, maybe $300 higher, right? In price. Consoles always have been a subsidized hardware, yeah, because what you actually sell is not the hardware; it's you're selling the store. It forces you to buy your stuff then in the PlayStation store, in the Nintendo store, or in this case in the Xbox store, and that's where you recoup the money. We know that Xbox has been striving away with that, especially with bringing games over to PlayStation. There's and them looking into, hey, do we have Steam on our console? There is no chance. If you have Steam on your console, you kind of have to sell the hardware with a margin. You need to make money back from that, because you cannot solely rely on the purchases made in your particular storefront anymore. Now, if they move away from that idea, maybe not the Steam idea, but at least the exclusivity idea, maybe there's room to bring the price down. That is the one aspect. Unrealistic, in my opinion, but a possibility. However, with everything we know about the Magnus chipset, and AMD has been very vocal about that, Magnus is not just a chip. It is a family of chips built for scalability across different devices. At the time when they announced that, everyone had in mind, Xbox is working on their own handheld, right? And everyone was thinking about that. We know that Sony is doing a very similar thing, with their handheld releasing along the next gen PlayStation. And we've thought about this, but honestly, if the next Xbox runs Windows with the overlay to make it feel like a console experience, but it is Windows, you run a PC version of a game. The exact same version that runs on your desktop PC is now running on your console. It would have never been easier to have a concept like the Series S. They've only talked about Project Helix as being this beast. But hey, AMD talks about this is the most scalable architecture we've had. Built to scale across different devices is literally what AMD said. So here's my thinking, It only makes sense for them to have a Helix S again. And this time the gap is much bigger. When the Series X and Series S came out, the price delta was only like $200. And I think I've said this to you before. I've never been a fan of this Series S is holding something back. That was never the problem. The problem was those two devices were too close together. In terms of hardware, in terms of price. Especially in terms of price. A €200 delta really isn't that much for a device that you intend to own 7 or to 8 years. Right? But if you, let's say, make a Helix S for $500 and have with that by far the cheapest console, because we know the PlayStation 6 is also in the ballpark of $1,000. If they sell the PS5 Pro right now at $900, the PS6 is at least that. Yeah. And so if Xbox now can offer a 400, 500 Helix S and a 1200 Helix X, there's a huge gap in between those. Also, of course, in terms of power and everything. But the developers will never ever have to develop specifically for those hardware configurations, because developers simply build the PC version, which runs obviously on something that is even lower on performance than the potential Helix S. So in my mind, I'm not sure if Xbox will ever make a own handheld, because they have great partnerships in the handheld space already. The ROG LEX is exactly that. It's an Xbox handheld. And if future Xbox games will only release in PC versions anyway, you will never ever have to deal with this whole idea of play anywhere. Outplay anywhere is automatically there for everything, right? And there's really no need. If Asus brings out an Xbox LE2, be done with it. But the actual console, in a 2-SKU way, developers will not have to develop separately for those, because they develop only the PC version and you can install it on everything, either on your PC, on your Helix S or your Helix S, right? That would be absolutely the thing. But the problem is, this is something that if Asha comes in and says, hey, we need exactly that, right? Then it would be too late by now.
Yeah,
it would simply be too late, because we know a console takes 3-4 years. Yeah, 4 years with chip design, 3 years without chip design. And even if you take out the chip design, because the chip is already built to be scalable, it'll be tough. You know what I mean? To meet a 27 launch window. So hopefully that was their thought process under Phil already, and Asha can now utilize that to have that flexible options, right? So what do you think, man, on this whole price thing and flexibility?
Like I say, I think I personally don't think there's going to be any change in terms of hardware price flexibility. I think it's more just software subscriptions, etc. I really don't believe from a hardware perspective there is, and I don't think that's much to do with Xbox. I think that's just mainly to do with the market that we're in. And the flexibility that they truly have. I don't believe that there's much flexibility to be had there, apart from, okay, since it's now a hybrid PC, the one ability you're going to have is to maybe change the amount of RAM that you've got in there if they go down an actual PC RAM route or something like that. But or the SSD route, again, being able to just swap out with a regular PC SSD of a certain bandwidth. But I honestly don't believe that there's much room for flexibility for anything else.
Yeah. It will be tough. The next to find the right pricing for this project Healy is not going to be an easy decision. I can tell you that.
Nope.
There's other infos on that, by the way, or on the consoles in general. Well, before we get to that, one last thing. If she talks about flexibility in price, I'm not sure if she only talked about the next gen. Honestly, because this is also something that she emphasized in that interview as well. They want to focus again on the Xbox Series X and S. They want to make it a first-class experience. She said the following: we have a formed team and we are investing in console features. We are standing up the muscles to make sure that all our performance and reliability and quality is great. We are investing in it as a first-class experience, and we want to make sure that all the players who want to be on Gen 9 are on Gen 9 with a great console with regular updates. I think that Gen 9 is a great piece of hardware, and we want to make sure that the gameplay and the platform experience is excellent. We know we just haven't invested as much there, so we are getting back to that. I mean, it's exactly what we said earlier. They just stopped doing updates and stopped caring about the console that we have, the Series X and S, which is Gen 9, right? And listen, dude, after all these, hey, we want to compete in the console space anymore. And we want to bring down price, or we want to make the right price point, right? What was her saying on that? We wanted to make sure that people around the world are able to play. We want to make pricing flexible for hardware, software, and services. Yeah. And with PlayStation now being a super expensive experience as well, right? Even the base PS5 is insanely expensive now, and the 5 Pro especially, right? Towards the end of the year, November, we have a big event happening. GTA comes out.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest console selling point in a long time. If they can reduce the price of Series X and S, let it be a symbolic $50 price reduction along with GTA, or make a GTA bundle. Keep the price as is, but bundle in GTA 6. Right? That could definitely help them. Especially with the world economy as it is. Prices are going up everywhere, right? Especially gas prices as of late. But you know what I mean. I'm not sure if she's just talking about Game Pass or next gen. I feel like they are actively looking in how can we make this Gen 9, cheaper. Make it more attractive with regular updates coming. I mean, they promised every 2 weeks an update till the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
Of course, not all of those updates are dramatic big updates, minor things, but they are actively working on the console experience again. And then GTA comes out and you either drop the price or bundle in. I think bundling in GTA would even be bigger argument. Yeah. That would be would absolutely behoove them. What do you think, dude?
I mean, yeah, it would be insane if they managed to do that.
I mean, Christopher says in the chat he thinks PS5 will have GTA 6 bundles. I absolutely agree. They have the marketing deal with GTA.
Yeah, they have the market. Yeah, but they also have the market. I think the only reason why they wouldn't or couldn't do a price reduction on current is because of the cost of parts for consoles at the moment, including mainly memory.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only reason.
RAM and SSDs are insane.
Yeah.
The NVMe prices went up so big.
Yeah, that's the only reason. There's even kind of potential rumors of an increase on the Nintendo Switch, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And it's not even the Switch. The Switch 2 isn't even the most up to date, but again, it's to do with memory. Regardless of how old that memory is, it's still a lot to.
Absolutely.
A lot to get it at the moment.
Absolutely. Yeah. So let's see. Let's see where they go with flexible pricing and making it more attractive. But I think if you are serious about bringing console back into the focus, and you are in the last place by a margin, compared to Nintendo and PlayStation, you have to take the bullet and swallow the pill, and maybe even sell, especially with GTA being a console exclusive, only available on PlayStation and Xbox, right? Not even the Switch. It's if you want to play GTA, you have to have an Xbox or a PlayStation.
Yeah.
It is your chance to sell devices, right?
Absolutely.
And if you are already investing, I mean, it costs a lot of money to make these updates. Every 2 weeks, they want to bring an update now till the end of the year. Right?
Yeah.
Which is, by the way, also interesting. Sorry if I'm digressing now. That I was wondering, we all know the next Xbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coming November 27. Every Xbox has launched in November. You don't need inside knowledge. Yeah, if an insider tells you, "Hey, if I've heard that November 27 is the launch date," obviously it's November. Every Xbox has always launched in November. So November 27. They bring out the next gen Xbox, runs on Windows, right?
Yeah.
With the Xbox experience on and everything. We know that. They haven't confirmed November 27, but they've confirmed the Windows thing and the idea that it runs all of your console and PC games. And so it's something like that, a dedicated Windows OS.
Yeah.
Not an Xbox OS. So that's 1.5 years from now. And you're absolutely spending so much money now to improve the OS that you currently have. I mean, I love that. I truly do. Do so, because even if the Project Helix comes out, right? A lot of people will still remain on the old console because not everyone's going to afford or will buy directly in a 1,200 euro Project Helix. But I find that interesting. Why put in so much effort into the old OS that will be replaced by the end of next year?
Yeah.
You have an idea?
Nope. Maybe it's just test bed. Maybe again just test bed. Put it in, refine it.
I mean,
it's the only reason for that.
Could be test bed for features that the new OS then also needs. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, could definitely be, but I also feel like they know if they launch Project Helix in the ballpark of $1,000 to $1,200, right? They know that that transitioning over gamers will be challenging and will take a lot longer. And the cross-gen period is going to be even bigger than it was this gen.
Yeah.
And the same goes, by the way, for PlayStation, obviously. Yeah. And so, yeah. I mean, that thinking alone could make it worthwhile. And I also feel like it is also a big thing has to do with messaging. The key message is, hey, we do care again. We care again about the console, and we are actually, this time we are actually listening, and we are not just telling you that, we are showing you that by releasing continuously updates and bringing new features and bringing changes to the existing ecosystem, because it is important to us. And yeah. All right, Dutch. Then, since we are on Project Helix anyway, she also said in a different interview, by the way, when we asked about when do we get a launch window, for that, and she said the following: all of these things are an equation. Memory costs will impact the pricing and will impact availability. As we think about being where the world plays, we will take that into consideration. So we are not ready to share a launch timeline right now. The world's pretty dynamic. My number one focus, though, is to focus on what's in our control. Build a great console to play great games, including your PC games. All I can share is that we have development kits going out next year, and we are working really hard and have a lot to continue to do and a lot continue to learn. But we are really excited about Project Helix and the initial feedback that we are getting. Yeah, so obviously the shortages, chip shortages, the memory shortages especially will impact price and maybe time window, the release window. I mean, we see it with the Steam Machine again. The Steam Machine was supposed to be out by now, and we don't have even the price or a release date yet. And Valve is very open about that. Yeah, that's because of the price thing, right?
Yeah, 100%. A lot of them will be having to reconfigure and rework, and that goes for Xbox and PlayStation and Nintendo and everybody that's working on any hardware at the moment is now having to reconfigure everything and thinking, right, okay, well, how can we make this consumer friendly whilst also maintaining features that we need in this thing to make it what it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it is fully in a work in progress. They've just announced, like when we already had the starting soon running, right, for the podcast, that on May 7th they will do a game dev update where they will share with developers more infos on Project Helix and what it means for to develop for it. So yeah, they are pushing that console and they are pushing the development plan. But the world is how it is, and some things even Microsoft cannot affect or influence, right?
Nope.
Yeah. I still thoroughly believe we will see the console end of next year. But yeah, it will be a beefy price point.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely beefy. But again, if it's going to be a hybrid PC console, it's going to have to be. And it's going to have to be in line with almost PC pricing, and you can't have your cake and eat it. Let's put it that way. It has to be one or the other.
Yeah, I agree. One last thing from the interview, Dutch. Asha touched on the hot topic of Xbox exclusivity. This is what she had to say. No calls are made yet. Choices around Xbox approach to exclusive games are long swinging decisions that have decade-long impact. So we'll take a data-driven approach and a strategic-driven approach, and then we'll look at our principles and we'll make some calls. So we will share more when we are ready. Nothing we are ready to commit to. I want to make the right decision, not the fastest decision.
Yeah.
And that has been obviously a big discussion point in the community around exclusivity. Will they go back? Should they go back? I mean, obviously, she's only, 65 days or so in the office. And this is, like she said, a very long-standing decision. They have made the decision 2 years ago, right, to go multi-platform. Even though they promised us at the time it's only going to be 4 games, and it's not going to be Starfield or Indiana Jones, and then now we have Halo now on coming now to PlayStation, right? Like their core IP, everything is multi-plat now. And even if she would reverse it today, Forza Horizon not coming to PlayStation anymore, Fable not coming anymore, Gears not coming, Halo not coming, reverse it today. The fact is that they have went for 2 years now. Multiplat will haunt them at least for a decade, no matter what the decision she makes. It will always it will impact them. It has influenced the brand recognition. It will the big media outlets will write headlines for years to come. Oh, is Elder Scrolls 6 still coming to PlayStation or not?
Yep.
You know, these headlines, you will have those with every game. So it is an important decision, and it is a difficult decision to make. So it's fully okay that she takes the time and reevaluates that.
Oh, has to.
She has to, right? And
I think ultimately going forward, what the decision will be live service games, things like that will be multi-plat. As much as we wouldn't like it, but that's what I believe. Live service will be multi-plat, and single player will go to back to exclusive.
I think that is a fair assumption. Of definitely, it is or was a similar approach that Sony took, right? Where they said, okay, things like Helldivers 2 come day and date to PC. And our single player games, they will be timed exclusives. They had probably the same thinking behind this, especially with a live service game. You have to have a big install base.
Yeah.
I feel like it wouldn't be a good idea to do that. And here's why. It would, if it comes to exclusives, and where do your first party games go, you have to have a clear messaging. You cannot do it on a case by case. Then it wouldn't help you. The only reason to do exclusives is to have a unique selling point, a clear, unique selling point. Just today, Circana published a survey that was conducted in the United States in the first quarter of 26. They interviewed 100,000 video game consumers, and the number one reason for people to play on console is because of exclusives. The number two reason is because of friends and family use the same console. The number one reason is to play on console because of exclusives. If you do a case by case, what would that mean this year? Is Forza Horizon then a live service game and you would release that multiplat? Probably.
Yep.
Fable, obviously a single player game. But what is Gears? Gears is known for its
multiplayer game,
yeah, it is, but it's also very popular because of its awesome campaign.
Yep.
And it is not a live service game per se. It is just a regular multiplayer game, right?
Yep.
What would you do with that? What is the messaging behind it? And the customers will not sit there and think, well, I get 50% exclusives. I can play that awesome racing game, Forza Horizon. I can play that on my PlayStation. But for the Gears campaign, I need to get the Xbox. And for Halo, I can play the campaign only on Xbox, but I can play the multiplayer on PlayStation. Or how would it work? You know, it is not a good idea to do that. If you go exclusive again, you go in with everything. Maybe the only exception you can make is with Call of Duty, because Call of Duty still isn't like considered an Xbox game. Yeah, but everything else, no exception, needs to go exclusive, or everything goes multiplat. Then you have a clear messaging towards a customer. But if you make the decision on a case by case, you have, even if, let's assume they do it this year and they say, okay, Forza Horizon, multiplayer game, multi-platform. Gears, also multi-platform because it has a multiplayer, right? But Fable, just for the sake of argument, is an Xbox exclusives. IGN and every other bullshit outlet out there will write headlines. Oh, but will it come? And what do you? Will it come to PlayStation? Maybe it is just timed exclusives. You will have all these headlines, and then you suddenly lose your unique selling point for the mass market. So you have to be very clear about, okay, we believe that exclusives are important as a brand recognition for the brand, as a unique selling point for our ecosystem. And I know they will never go back to, and I don't even want that. I don't want them to go back to console-only exclusives. Yeah, PC is different.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
So, should they do it? Should they go back
to exclusivity? Yeah. They need to be. We've said there needs to be competition. There needs to be competition, and I agree with Asha that it's going to be difficult, and it will take work in identifying which ones the classes needing to be multi-platform and which ones they class as being which ones they class as
multi-plat.
Sorry, which ones the class is multi-plat and which ones the class is exclusive.
Yeah.
So they definitely need to be clear on that. Very clear. And it's gonna take time on them. But I'll be looking at the numbers, and as you pointed out the other week, big games like Starfield, etc., haven't done the numbers. A lot of the big single player ones that went over just haven't done the numbers. So it is difficult, and it's just about setting those expectations and setting them correctly, and then knowing going forward, okay, so what are we talking about? Like what ones are we actually talking about here when it comes to this?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, obviously Microsoft has much better data than we do, right? There have been exceptions. Obviously, Call of Duty and namingly from exclusive point of view, Forza Horizon did really well. But everything else really didn't sell that much. Barely any other game scratched the million number, right? Million sales numbers. I think I saw today Starfield now sits around 210,000 copies sold. Is that worth it to give up your unique selling point? If all other surveys that have been taken by Microsoft or by others, like today from Sakana, right? What's the number one reason to play on a console? Exclusives.
Yeah.
And if you're serious about selling your storefront again, it's not about selling the console, it's about selling your storefront. You have to have something. At the Epic Games Store wouldn't exist anymore if it wasn't for Fortnite. It would simply not exist anymore. Because it is the reason why people log into Epic, so they can play Fortnite. It is a unique selling point. Every other service, every other platform in entertainment, even Spotify, things like that do have exclusive content. Netflix has exclusive content. Disney has exclusive content. Nobody would subscribe to multiple subscription services, streaming services, if Netflix and Disney would have the same content. Nobody would do that. Why would you? Why would you? And I think Game Pass, being almost a decade old now, has proven it's not enough to be a unique selling point. Even with 10 years of Game Pass now, or almost 10 years, right? A lot of people still don't really understand the concept or are not that interested in it for it to be a unique selling point. So if you and then the next question comes up. Now, Project Helix has like Steam on it. Why would anyone invest into buying something from the Xbox store anymore? Why? Yeah, there's other options. You play on PC and Steam. There's PlayStation. You can play Halo on PlayStation. Yes, you can play it through Game Pass. But you might not be interested in that many titles in Game Pass anyway. Right? And with €1,000 consoles, PS6 €1,000, Project Helix probably even more. You're not impulse buying 2 consoles anymore. Honestly, if the PS6 costs $1,000, I barely turn on my PS5 anyway because I use it for exclusives. It's the only reason I have it. It's exclusives. It's the Spider-Mans and the God of Wars and the Wolverine this year. Wolverine is probably the only reason why I turn on my PS5 this year. Yeah?
Yeah.
You need to have these unique selling points. Otherwise, you will not get the system out. And then the rest will come. If you decide, hey, is the one exclusive, because that is the best chance that Xbox has had in 20 years to actually gain back market share in the console space because of a weak Sony. Their roadmap is so bare dry. They have barely one game a year that is interesting for the wider audience, right? Yes, they have Saros this year, but nobody in the wider margin, in the bigger market, cares about Saros. It's a super niche game. So the one game that they have that people might be interested in a general gaming space is Wolverine this year. And what do they have for next year? Nobody believes that Intergalactic is going to be ready next year. We don't know. With good luck, they have one game. So Xbox is in the unique position that they are, and this will continue for a couple of years with PlayStation, because they just canceled all the live services games last year, and a Bend Studio, for instance, now needs 5, 6, 7 years till they have their next game ready. So for the next, let's say 4 to 5 years, they have this unique position that Sony really isn't competing on a game release side. If you have exclusives, this is the first, and people stand. Next gen comes out, PS6 is $1,000, Xbox Helix is $1,000, and people have to make the decision: in which ecosystem do I invest? I have the Helix that will also play my Steam library, where I get super cheap deals. Games are generally $10 cheaper. Even new releases are usually $10 cheaper than on console. I can buy it there, and I can play my Gears and my Elder Scrolls 6 and my Blade and my, I don't know, Halo, the next proper Halo, not the remake this year, but I can play those kind of games versus I spend $1,000 on PlayStation and maybe have one game a year. It's the first, it's a very unique situation. They should leverage it. Go in Be aggressive again. Go for exclusives. Have a unique selling point. And then then the situation will also be better on PlayStation. Yeah.
Well, it should be.
It will force Sony to do better by their customers. But only if Xbox is strong.
So. We all know what Sony's like.
Yeah. Because they didn't have to.
But to be fair, even without that, though, we've been hoping for Sony to pull the finger out and do something for a while, because it's been very lackluster. And that's not talking about the games; it's about the cadence of release and zero pipeline going forward, and it is all a bit worrying, and it needs to be spoken about, because ultimately that's going to affect every gamer that's
exactly. Right. And with a €1,000 PlayStation 6, I will also ask myself, is that worth it for me? To play one game, maybe two, in a very good year, 2 games a year on it. So this is a unique chance for Xbox, because of a weak pipeline from Sony, because of them also having high prices. If you have exclusive content that people actually want to play, because that's also the fact that for a long time Xbox really didn't have the exclusives. I would still argue, even though they had a great pipeline in 25, there was no real blockbuster game that pulled people towards the Xbox console or ecosystem. Games like Avowed were awesome. I loved Avowed, but it is not a pull factor. Or Outer Worlds, and even a Ninja Gaiden, and the remake of Tony Hawk and Gears is not a pull factor. Doom Eternal was probably the biggest release. Not Doom Eternal. Doom, the Dark Ages. Doom. Yeah. But that's not enough. Now they have that pipeline, right? This year with a Fable and a Forza and a Gears. And then they have Elder Scrolls coming, and the next Fallout, and a Blade, and all that good stuff. They have the blockbuster games. Make them exclusive. Use it. Swallow the pill. Microsoft can afford it. And then we will have competition again in the console space. And that's where PlayStation players will benefit from, as well as Xbox gamers. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. 100%. We've been wanting this for a while, and the reason we were so upset with Xbox is because the strategy ultimately doesn't bring competition. We need competition for the sector to remain competitive, to push boundaries. Competition needs to be there, and I think the like you say, the one thing we always laughed at was the fact that they were like, "Oh yeah, we don't see PlayStation as a competitor anymore."
Yeah.
So what are you talking about? Like, of course they're a competitor. Like, they are your biggest competitor. How can you say they're not a competitor?
Absolutely.
It's just like a ridiculous kind of assertion to make.
Yeah. I agree.
So yeah, I'm glad it's being reworked and refigured out and things like that. But yeah, time will tell.
Absolutely. Let's move over to or do you want to add anything to the exclusivity thing?
No. I think we're in. Yeah,
all right.
I think that's fine. I think we've covered it.
All right. Then let us move to PlayStation, because they've made some headlines this week as well. They are bringing back DRM. Remember when the Xbox One was announced? One of the biggest criticism, besides TV, right, was the handling of DRM. They wanted you to log in at least every 24 hours to renew the license. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they also had a great sharing model with that, right? It would with that you would have been able to share your digital library with your friends and family.
Yeah.
But still, the DRM discussion is what broke the neck of the Xbox One launch.
Yeah.
Deserved or not. It was it what it is. And PlayStation is reintroducing that. You now have to log in every 30 days. Otherwise, your games will not run anymore. So they are basically bringing that back. And it is interesting to see how the community behaves. I mean, of course, we are now in the year 26. It is a different time than in the year 2010. Right?
Yeah.
What was it? No, 2013. Pardon. 2013 was when the Xbox One came out. Yeah, that's 13 years later. Everything is online now all the time, right?
Yeah.
Even my washing machine is online now. All the time. So you could definitely argue. That this is not a big as a deal as it is anymore. But I find it very interesting to see how the community and media reacted. Because, again, DRM is what broke the launch of the Xbox One. And this time, no reports from your IGNs or your VGCs and so on. The only headline was when, and I see you, Print Screen, in the chat. Print Screen says, did you hear about the update for DRM? They said it's only for a check-in one time, then there is no more check-in. Well,
it's
unless something broke,
unless
something broke during the podcast, yeah. There was a rumor. There was a rumor put out by IGN and Video Game Chronicles and so on. They all picked it up and reported on that. That was the only report, right? A rumor from an alleged insider. It's only because of jailbroken PS5s. They want to introduce a one-time check-in. Nothing has been confirmed by Sony, to my knowledge, unless something broke during the podcast. But my base of knowledge is 8 p.m. Thursday, 30th of April. This was the only report we've seen about an alleged insider who put this out as a rumor. Right? And I find that very troubling, honestly, because it's not so much that I personally, Boxenberger here, caring about DRM. I think that if I can't log into the internet for 30 days, I have bigger problems than I don't know, Diablo not working anymore. You know what I mean? But the reaction of the general media sites is baffling to me, and also no outcry from the PlayStation community. You know, if Xbox would have introduced DRM again, everyone,
Xbox has never not had DRM. They didn't cancel it.
There is no check-in. If you buy, obviously you need for online games. Obviously, you need to an online connection. But if you buy a single-player game on Xbox, a Crimson Desert does not need. Your console can be offline for how long you want it to be, and you can play it. They don't have a check-in anymore. They got rid of that before the Xbox One came out and have never reintroduced it. And that's what I mean. You know,
I always just assumed it was gay.
It doesn't matter how you stand towards how again. Would it affect me to log in every time I turn on my PlayStation? I'm online anyway, right? No, it wouldn't affect me personally to introduce that. But the sheer fact that when one console OEM does it, it is the worst thing in the world, and it literally destroyed. And Xbox still has not recovered from that to this day. It is the reason, it is the main reason why Xbox is so far behind in third place. Because if after the Xbox 360 PS3 generation, lifetime sales of Xbox and PlayStation were more or less on par, plus minus a few million, but basically on par. It's exactly what gamers need, right? Balanced out competition. But then the Xbox One came, they had the DRM issue, and this was the biggest criticism on this whole thing. Sony made a video, remember that, when Shuhei handed that other guy, I can't remember that guy's name, but Shuhei handed him a game. This is how you trade games with PlayStation. Remember that video? And that is the main reason why they lost the Xbox One generation. And like Phil once said, it was the worst generation to lose, because that was the generation when people started to build their digital libraries. And now it becomes more challenging than ever, or is more challenging than ever, to move people over. Give up PlayStation, move to Xbox. Almost impossible, because that would mean people need to give up their library, right? And that's why I'm saying, to this day, Xbox is suffering from that launch of the Xbox One, and DRM was the reason that broke it. And now Sony does it, and nobody talks about it. Why is that, Dutch?
Because, and I think we all know why, they are a market leader and they're the favourite child. That's why. Because they dare not speak ill of their favourite child.
Yes, absolutely. Negative Xbox headlines is what kept the lights on for decades now. Right? But again, me personally, I don't have anything against DRM per se. It really doesn't affect me in the way how I play games. But yeah, let's see how this will turn out with PlayStation, since there is not really an outcry, neither from media nor the fans. I doubt that they will course correct it. Maybe that rumor turns out to be true, that it's only a one-time check-in after 30 days. Maybe not. We don't know. But I just wanted to say that I'm once again very disappointed in the gaming media landscape, honestly.
Yeah.
All right, Dutch. Let's get to the community questions of this week.
Yes.
Each and every Wednesday, you, our awesome community, can write in questions or topics you would like us to discuss. And we don't put that behind any paywalls, no Patreon subscription or anything needed. We just put up posts on Twitter and the social channels here on YouTube, and you can write in. And this week we got a lot of questions, Dutch.
Yeah.
Paul Abyss writes in and asks this. At the beginning of the podcast, you have this starting soon screen running. What is it that you guys do during that starting soon window?
We talk.
We literally about our daily lives.
Yeah.
So, how's work?
Talk about our daily lives on the daily.
Dutch usually complains, or not, talks about his cat.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I talk about my kids. We talk about work, or the weather, or anything. It's nothing special. And sometimes and that's sometimes why sometimes starting soon honestly runs 3 minutes, and sometimes it runs like 10 minutes. It's just because sometimes we get into discussions up front, and then we just forget to start the podcast. That's the simple truth. No big secret behind the starting soon. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name of the next question, because that ever since Twitter introduced the automatic translate thing, people write in their native language. I see so many, I see so many posts now in Spanish, and then Twitter automatically translates it for me into my default language. And so someone from France wrote in. And I think because there's this little tick under the C, I think his name is pronounced Masson or something.
Okay, yeah.
It is translated now, question, because the question came in French. Do you guys have a strong gaming opinion? Something where you have maybe an unpopular opinion, or something that makes you mad or emotional? I have multiple of those, Dutch.
What was that? What was the question?
Do you have a strong gaming opinion? Something where you have maybe an unpopular opinion, or something that makes you mad or emotional?
Mad or emotional? No, I don't have anything that makes me personally mad or emotional, but I've definitely got opinions that'll make other people mad and emotional.
So
my opinion that naturally got people mad and emotional, I think, was the opinion on layoffs after takeovers. That one gets like, oh, how that's very uncouth. How dare you? I'm like, mate, I'm sorry, but it's just part and parcel of what happens in takeovers. Like, it's capitalism. Unfortunately, people lose jobs when there's takeovers because there's merging of different departments. So therefore, the weakest of the herd will be culled. And if we've been in management before, we've had the unfortunate thing of laying people off or getting rid of people, or underperformers are gotten rid of. It's your company can't run on dead wood, unfortunately.
That's very true. I have strong opinions about a couple of things in gaming, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, for instance, I don't believe in backlogs. When people tell me, my backlog is so big, I said, bullshit.
But I have a backlog that I will get to when I retire, okay?
Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit.
When I eventually have time to play games, I will get to them, Boxy. I promise.
I fight argue against everyone on this. If you tell me that your backlog is longer than 2 games, you're talking bullshit. Sometimes, obviously, because we only have like limited time. Yes, obviously, we can't play all the games at the same time. So, that's my only backlog game at the moment is Starfield DLC. Yeah, I wanted to play that. I started it. But I can't pull myself away from Diablo. But as soon as I'm over that current Diablo addiction, I'm going to play that. And that is my backlog. Everything else, I could name you like 100 games in my so-called backlog, is, if I'm honest, only a list of games I pretend I want to play, but really don't. Because if I really would like to play them, I would not be spending 150 hours in Crimson Desert and 200 hours in Diablo and so on. And that's obviously for everyone something else, yeah. But people spend 1,000 hours a year in Fortnite and then tell me, but my backlog is so big. My backlog is so big. I can't find the time to play that. If you really would want to play those games, you would do it.
I blame my backlog on my ADHD.
Yeah. You don't. It's bullshit.
Because I get into a game and I'm like, I really wanted to play this. The idea of playing this game was strong when I turned it on, and then I start playing the game and I'm like, I'm not in the mood for this.
Yeah, your backlog is only a list of games you pretend you want to play, but you really don't. If you would want, you play like 100 hours a week Pokemon. If you really would like to play, easily. Yeah, and if you really would like to play, I don't know what's in your backlog right now. Crimson Desert.
Too much.
Yeah, if you really would want to play it, you would do it.
Is it like sometimes you go into a game thinking, all right, okay, I'll see how this game is, and then you get addicted to that game. It doesn't mean that you don't want to play the other games. It's just that this game has taken over your mind share. And then before you know it, there's like 3 or 4 games that have came out since, and you're like, I really need to get to these games because I actually want to play them.
And then if you are honest to yourself, you pretend you have that in your backlog, but if you're really honest to yourself, you know exactly you will never ever touch that.
How dare you?
It's a fact. It's a fact. You know. It's one of my strong. It's one of my strong and emotional gaming opinions.
How dare you?
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Archie Sentinel writes in, a lot of people are bringing up Mixer now that Asha is making meaningful changes to the Xbox brand. Do you think it stands as a chance at returning?
No.
I find
I would love it because, believe it or not, Mixer was actually
good.
Mixer was actually the best streaming platform. It's one of those in hindsight things.
Yeah.
The way that they managed to integrate multi-stream with your friends into a singular stream, no other platform has managed to do that.
Yeah.
Yet. The streaming quality was second to none. But for some reason, it didn't take off. Oh, one reason. They splurged on a big name to come onto the platform immediately. And it completely ruined it. Yeah.
See, I'm with you. I kind of doubt it, but I would love to see something come back because, again, we need competition. It is with so many platforms where we don't have really good competition. YouTube is another example. We don't have a real competitor towards YouTube.
Yeah.
If you want to watch videos online, YouTube is the only place.
Yeah.
And the same goes for Twitch right now when it comes to streaming. There's streaming on YouTube as well, but nobody gives a damn. Yeah, except for podcasts like this, but not like game streaming. Nobody uses YouTube for that. It's Twitch only. And we need a good competition there. So, but that's the problem because Twitch is so far ahead. If you bring back Mixer now, do you really see a realistic chance that it might be a success? You would need, again, a unique selling point for that.
The unique selling point for Mixer was the multi-stream.
Yeah, but obviously it wasn't enough.
And well, to be fair, I think it wasn't. The problem is again, corporations pull triggers on things too quick. I think.
Yeah.
It was still.
I agree.
You've got to think on its lifespan as well. Mixer was maybe 2-3 years max, and then they just binned it. for a streaming platform, that is like baby years.
But you see, Epic is trying to compete with Steam for a decade now.
Yeah.
And they no chance. They've absolutely zero chance to rival Steam.
But then you have a look. If you flip over to the other side, you've got Twitch, you've got YouTube for streaming.
Yeah.
And the newest competitor that came out of the boil is TikTok. And there's a significant amount of people stream on TikTok now. Like massive amount of people stream on TikTok now.
That is true. That is very true.
And that goes into a whole new niche because that is literally a handheld mode in a specific way.
Yeah. Although I don't see really a TikTok and Microsoft cooperation on that level coming. But
no. But again, like I say, the quality of what they built in Mixer was unmatched. Like even compared to YouTube or Twitch, the actual quality of Mixer, in hindsight, was unmatched. It was flawless multi-stream of up to 4 people, where you could see everybody's game on the stream at the same time and their cameras.
If you look at the hard facts, in terms of features, like you said, multi-streaming, in terms of monetization for the creators, they were leaps and bounds ahead of Twitch. In terms of image quality, at the time, they were leaps and heads ahead of Twitch. And still, they were not able to rival it. So, unless they have this really unique idea, what needs to change in the streaming space, bring something... I don't have that idea. Otherwise, I would probably start a streaming platform, right? But I don't have that idea. But if you have an idea like that, go for it. Yeah?
See, the main reason I didn't ever really take off on Twitch for me was image quality. So they improved it a little bit, but then it's really, really limited on the bitrate. And I was like, the problem with streaming when you've got low bitrate quality is that, yes, it's easier on the computer, it's easier on the PC to handle it, but if I'm going to stream, I want to stream in the best possible quality.
True.
Which is why I always streamed on YouTube, because at least through YouTube, I could get 1440 60. I could get 2K 60. You can't do that on Twitch because the bitrate is horrifically low.
Yeah. I agree.
I'm like, nope.
Pixel Slapper in the chat.
That's the happy medium that we had with Mixer, because Mixer had high quality, high bitrate, multi-stream. It had everything. If they brought that back, I'd use it.
Pixel Slapper in the chat says, Mixer was great. Phantasy Star had a chance. I agree. But overall, it still wasn't enough. And maybe if Microsoft would have stuck with it a little longer, I'm with you.
Yeah, and I think one of their, like I mentioned, one of their biggest things that they did wrong was get the big name on board straight away. They went for the biggest streamer at the time, paid him an absolute fortune, and then cut him off.
Yeah,
or cut the entire thing off like a year later.
They should have supported with the same amount of money. They could have supported thousands of smaller to medium-sized creators, right?
Exactly. It was more like, instead of going for the big dog, go for the ones maybe just a little bit under them, where you could have got maybe 10 of them for $1 million as opposed to one for 30 million.
And make it super attractive for super small creators.
Exactly.
Get people into using your platform, and your new star, you invest in 1,000 streamers and 999 of them will fail.
You know what would be the easiest feature? Easiest feature? Monetization from day dot.
What does it mean?
So on YouTube, you have to have a certain level of viewers, subscribers.
Okay.
In order to unlock monetization. On Twitch, you need to have a certain amount of average viewers for a long period before you then get affiliate. And even then, affiliate, you only get a certain amount of your money until you become partner. But to become partner, you need to have an average of 75 viewers consistently over like a 3-4 month period, and have X amount of streams per day and a certain amount of hours. If you just got rid of all that and said, right, from the off, it's open to everyone, you can just make money via people paying you money via subscribers, whatever you do, if they just did that from the off, you'd get loads of people jumping on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the interest. That's why. Thank you, Sergeant Sentinel, for this great question. It is something. You remember about a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we had this announcement that Xbox is partnering with Discord again.
Yep.
And when 2 weeks ago, when I read that headline, it was one of the first things. I hope they think this bigger than just party chat.
Yeah, well, Discord's also introduced streaming.
Yeah.
But the problem with Discord, it isn't an open platform to view streams. It's just to your group.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe if they partner that right, because with Discord you have a huge base of people that are invested in gaming, that are interested in gaming, that are interested to talk about gaming. So you have a really good potential customer base for a proper streaming service. If you think of
Mixer with Discord,
with something like that, right? Integrate in Discord proper game streaming that you can do directly from your Xbox console properly, or your PC properly integrated, right?
Yeah.
I could see that being a thing.
Yeah.
And then make the like you said, monetization easy for small creators. But because as much as it pains me to say, this will get a lot of people started, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, good question. Next question.
I do miss streaming from time to time. I do miss it. I just wish I had the time. Like, even like these days, in the past, I used to put so much mental thought into, okay, what am I going to play today that people would like to watch? But I think these days, if I went to streaming, I would just sit and whatever I'm playing, I would just stream and chat whilst I'm playing games, as opposed to thinking, okay, what does everybody want to see? I would just do my own thing. In the past, when I was streaming, it was like, okay, this is the most popular game now, so I'll play this for stream. As opposed to, and then you'd get worn out because you'd be like, I feel like I have to stream this game now. Like, it was some of them where I was like doing a full game playthrough on it, and I was like, I feel like I have to finish doing this game because I've streamed already most of it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I personally never got into streaming, right? It is also, for me, but it's just a me thing, not the kind of content I personally consume. And I would not feel comfortable doing any kind of content that I personally do not consume or enjoy, right?
Yeah.
I do the podcast because I genuinely love talking to you and our community about games.
Yeah.
And the industry and things. I also listen to a lot of other podcasts. Yeah, I like that format. This is a kind of content I love to personally consume. I wish my daily job, my actual job, would give me more time to create videos again. But I just can't find the time at the moment. This is in between family and work. But this is a kind of content I do watch. I do like the 10-minute videos on YouTube. Yeah, consume, think about the stuff, interesting, cool stuff. Bam, move on. I like that kind of content. That's why I started my channel, by creating this kind of content. And I'm doing the content now that I personally do enjoy. I do not. It's not my type of content to watch other people play a game. If I have time to do that, I'd rather play the game on my own. But everyone's different and everyone enjoys different kind of content, and streaming is a big thing. And I feel like we need we do need more competition than Twitch, because I know a lot of people that do stream on Twitch, and I talk to them on a regular basis, and I don't know anyone who isn't complaining about Twitch. Everyone hates Twitch, but everyone uses it. It's similar with YouTube. Ask one YouTube content creator, if he likes YouTube, and he will get you, and everyone will get started and names you like 10 things that they hate about YouTube. But there's no other chance if you want to make content than to use YouTube, right? And I mean, it has changed a little bit with TikTok. That's true. But then people also complain about TikTok, right? Pixel Slapper in the chat says creating a video is irrelevant if you don't want to. Yeah, I agree. And that goes not just for a video; it's for every kind of content, right? It's believe it or not, we are not doing this here for the money. It would be really bad decision to do this here for the money.
It would be like massively bad decision. A horrific career decision.
Like it's actually a negative for us. With the little we actually lose money by doing this because the little we make from the podcast doesn't even cover like software licenses and stuff. It's like, for us, it's a negative, but we do enjoy making the content, and that's why we continue to do it. And that should be the only reason to make content, is because you stand behind the kind of content you do, whether it's streaming, making videos, doing a podcast, whatever kind of content you do it because you love to do it, not for any other reason.
100%.
All right. Next question comes from GabX. You gotta talk about the new Diablo expansion. Is it a win finally? I think yes. So we did talk about that a little bit at the beginning, and I agree. It is dude. They've changed Diablo 4 so much. It reminds me a lot more of Diablo 2 now, which is the best Diablo to date.
There is a rumor as well, by the way, that might make me get back into Diablo a little bit more.
Yeah.
Again.
Which rumor is that?
Coming to Switch 2.
I'm surprised it's not on there already.
Well, the previous one was.
Yeah.
I think it's just, again, it's refinement, isn't it? It's refining it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the thing is also refining it to work with the button layout on the console and things like that. And
you know what would get you back into Diablo if you finally would buy an Xbox LEX?
That's such a big investment.
Because the only reason you want Diablo on the Switch is because of the handheld format.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe, if it wasn't for the fact that I had a Switch 2 handheld, I probably wouldn't be gaming at the moment.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not sure if the Xbox console is my most played system anymore. I use the ROG LEX because of the handheld format so much. Handheld gaming is fantastic. I do get that. Yeah. Right, Charles Wynn.
It's the simplicity. It's for, especially in bed at night time. Like, even if I haven't got time to go and like sit in front of a TV or something, I can just take the Switch quick, put it beside the bed. As soon as I get into bed, I'm like,
it is.
Right, let's have a quick hour.
And I know exactly what you mean. I mean, now that spring has started, I've put out in my backyard, my launch furniture again and everything. And there's nothing better than just sit out there. I could go down here in the man cave in front of the big TV, and yes, the games look better, they run better. big TV, much better. Yeah, I know that. But there's just something so convenient to just lay outside in my backyard, pick up the handheld, and enjoy my games. It's just...
Yep. And you know what the funny thing is that I picked up the Switch 1 the other day as well. It was meant to try and swap over memory cards and things like that, and that turned it on, and I was like, I don't think I'd be as bothered about playing on a Switch 1. I definitely wouldn't have the same motivation to play games if I was just still stuck on the Switch 1, because it just feels so flimsy and it feels so like outdated. And it's the moment you pick it up, but this is like, it is a significant difference. Like, you don't realize it until you have a Switch 2 over a Switch 1, but it is a significant difference both in screen quality and size and build quality. It's like, Jesus.
Just the other day, a good friend from my my son was here, had his Switch 2 here. I was saying, you guys go play outside, and I need to check out the Switch 2. Played Mario Kart on it. It is a massive improvement over the Switch 1.
Yeah.
And this is the thing about the handhelds, and this is why the Rock LEX changed my gaming habits so much, because I did have the original LE. Yeah, it's not that I'm new, and before that I had the Steam Deck. Yeah, and it's not like I'm new to the handheld thing. I know a lot of people are new with the Rock LE now, with the Rock Xbox LE to handheld gaming, and there was a time, I remember that when the original Switch came out, that was my most played system, because at the time I had a different job and I was traveling really a lot. Really a lot. Like, I was traveling 3 out of 4 weeks a month. Yeah. And so I always had that with me because of the handheld format. And that's why I was like, oh, I need the OG LE. When that came out, I was like, yeah, that's my thing. I got it. And I used that also, and don't regret buying it, not at all. I use that when traveling. I don't travel as much anymore as I did like 8-10 years ago. I have a different job now. I'm in a different position, and but I still do travel occasionally, and also for private reasons, right? Visiting my parents or visiting friends and going on vacations and stuff. And I enjoyed my original LE, but I never really used it at home. Sometimes. Main reason is not just because of the feeling of it when you hold it in your hand, but the main reason was, for me, probably the battery life. Because it was so annoying. You could get like 40, 45, 50 minutes of gaming time out of the original LE. And then you had to hook it up to a charger. And it was like, playing outside in the backyard, what I just mentioned, right? After 40 minutes, I had to get the power bank and plug the thing in. And it was like just, not the convenience of the handheld gaming. But if a handheld is done right, Switch 2 is... For economical reasons, the Rock Xbox LEX is not just, it's perfect, it's an absolute awesome ergonomics, but also finally the battery life is there, right? Most of my playthrough of Replaced I did on the Rock LEX. Playing Replaced, you could run that at 60 FPS easily in the 17 watt mode. Gives you 3.5-4 hours playtime. Yeah. Right? So if a handheld is done right, there's nothing better than handheld gaming, dude. It's so absolutely good. So that's why you need the Xbox LEX. And then you can play Diablo and everything else on a handheld, man. Really. Okay, next question comes in from Charles Wilson and is more of a statement or a topic proposal than a question. He says, Fallout and Elder Scrolls PlayStation release is no longer guaranteed. Or is it? Yeah, well, the way how Asha, I mean, we talked about exclusives, right? But Elder Scrolls...
It may be too far gone at this point.
Listen, man, I just... Of course, I don't care if someone on PlayStation can play Elder Scrolls. Yeah. But imagine this comes out only on Xbox. Of course, PC. Yeah, but for the console gamers, you have to get an Xbox.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that we would finally have a shift? That this would be an absolute console seller, an absolute system seller, and then we finally would have competition in the console space again. And Sony would finally get his stick out of the butt and make good games and good customer or consumer-oriented decisions again. And this is absolutely what we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Syed Doyo Hussein writes in and asks a reoccurring question here on the podcast. What makes pineapple pizza so special? Nothing. And you know
it. It doesn't.
He knows it.
It's especially terrible.
It's exactamundo. So we've covered that. Let's go to the big bridge question. It's usually the last question of the show, right? Because he always writes in these super creative and super fun questions. So the big bridge question is usually our closest of the show. And this week, he's got a good one. Hello, Boxy and Dutch. Short and sweet question for today. If you had a working time machine and you could take any one console and recent game to give to your past self, which one would it be? Plus points if your past self shares it with parents, siblings, friends, or loved ones. Have fun and wish you all a great weekend. By the way, for me,
that's easy.
For him, he would go back 15 years and give himself, who only had a PSP at the time, a Switch and a copy of Zelda Tears of Kingdom. It's a good choice.
Oh, did you hear as well on that note? Apparently they're looking at doing a remake of one of the old Zeldas. The originals.
Yeah, I've heard the Ocarina of Time is getting a remake.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, that would be a system seller for me. Yeah, I mean,
that's when you pick up a Switch too.
Listen, I will get a Switch 2 eventually. It was just it was a financial decision last year. When the Switch 2 came out, we knew the ROG Xbox LEX also comes out, and I had to make the decision for funding reasons. Yeah, spending $800 on a ROG Xbox LE and
then a Switch 2.
Switch 2 with a couple of games, just too much. And then and the decision went towards the ROG Xbox LEX, and I don't regret that because as much as I wanted to play Mario Kart, that's the only game I would have played on there. I mean, Metroid Prime, I could play that on the old Switch, right? So there's no other than Mario Kart, for me personally, there was no system seller yet. Again, importance of exclusives. Yeah?
Yeah.
Why would I play Cyberpunk? I know a lot of people were so excited about Cyberpunk being on that thing. It's a 5-year-old game that I've already played and do own on Xbox and do own on it. I do own it also on PC. And if I want to play it in handheld mode, I can play the better version on the ROG Xbox LE X. Yeah, the Cyberpunk runs better, looks better on the ROG Xbox LEX without spending a single extra dime. So there's no reason for me to upgrade to the Switch 2 yet. But if a proper Zelda comes out, a 3D Mario, I will eventually cave. I will eventually cave.
And the good thing is Switch are now pivoting towards, especially with the big first-party titles, to switch to exclusives. So I think going forward, it will become easier to make that decision.
Yeah.
Like we know for the first time ever, now they've completely ditched, especially Pokemon. They've not only ditched the yearly release cycle, but they've extended it until next year, and it's switched to exclusive, which has naturally wound up a few people. But this is why it needs to happen.
Yeah.
In order to push things forward, you have to. And I think, of course, you get the next big Mario switch to exclusive, next Zelda switch to exclusive.
Absolutely. And once those kind of bangers drop, I will absolutely get a Switch too. Yeah. Again, importance of exclusives, a unique selling point. Unique selling point. Yeah.
But yeah, my game, naturally, I would just go back to that original lad that was sitting in the car playing his OG Game Boy when my mother was doing parcel deliveries when I was young. And trying to play a Game Boy in the dark and wait for streetlights in order to see the screen to play Pokemon Red or whatever it was at the time. And I'd give him the Switch too. So there you go.
Yeah.
Poof. A nice shiny screen where you don't have to squint in the dark, and you can play loads of Pokemons. There's so much Pokemon.
Yeah. I remember that. At the time, my mom was taking care of my grandma, who lived like about an hour drive, 50 minutes drive from where we lived, and so we had to drive there every day. Yeah. And that was young Boxenberger's Game Boy time, like the hour drive to grandma and back. And I had the exact same problem. Like I was sitting there in the car, like trying to catch some sunlight, depending on sun direction. Like I can see it, until my mom finally bought me this the attachable
with the magnifying glass type thing and the torch.
And light. Yeah, and the torch. Yeah,
we all had those.
We all had those.
I can see now.
Yeah.
And they even brought out a little like USB attachment that plugged into the Game Boy Color at the time as well, where it was like a tiny little screen light.
I never had that, but I remember it. Yeah.
Oh dear me.
Good times. So we didn't answer the big bridge question, dude. Okay, so if he would go back in time, he would give himself a Switch with a copy of Zelda. So which console and recent game?
Oh, it's Switch and the new Pokemon's easy. Switch 2 and the new Pokemon's. Because again, as a child, and you've got to go back into the child roots and what we were playing as children.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Final Fantasy on the PlayStation, and again, the beauty of the Switch 2 is it has the newest Final Fantasy on it, and the old Final Fantasies. So it'd be like, here you go, you don't need a PlayStation, you have a Switch 2, it's got all of your games on that you played as a kid, it's got your Final Fantasy, it's got your Pokemon, like everything that you invested so much of your life and time into as a child is now on this beautiful little handheld device with a beautiful bright screen that you can see in the dark. Have fun.
Yeah.
You don't have to switch discs anymore like you did in the PlayStation with Final Fantasy, and you get to the end of a certain act and have to put disc 2 in, then disc 3, and then disc 4.
Yeah.
You don't have to have memory cards. Like,
yeah. I would go back in time almost 30 years to young Boxenberger when he was 12, 13 years old and played Ocarina of Time for the first time. Because at the time, Ocarina, how old was I? When did it came out? It was like 98. So I was 15. I was 15 then. I would go back to that time because when I played Ocarina of Time, I was like, okay, gaming has reached peak and it will never ever be better than that. This, remember this feeling when you stepped out of the little village into this, well, it wasn't really open world, but it felt like the first time I've experienced something like that, right? Ocarina of Time, this open world, you step out there and you just can walk, and it took you like 5 minutes to walk across the map to get to the castle, and then you have all these side quests. Well, it wasn't really side quests, but it felt like that. And then you got your horse, Epona, for the first time, and you ride Epona across the sunset, and it was like mind-blowing visuals at the time, right? And and a feeling of exploration and adventure, and it was like I was so blown away, and I was like really like, okay, gaming has reached peak, and it will never ever become better than that. And so, to combine our previous praise of handhelds, I would take the ROG Xbox Ellie and give myself The Witcher 3.
Oh.
Or maybe Crimson Desert. Something like that. When Witcher 3 is also already now 10 years old.
Would that not be a little bit too technical for your young mind?
I mean, it would be for yours as well. If you would give yourself, your younger self, a Switch 2, like, what's those 2 sticks on this thing? We haven't seen that yet, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's vibrating.
Jesus, Carlos.
Whoa.
So, of course, probably a Crimson Desert would be absolutely overwhelming. I mean, it is overwhelming for a lot of people in this day and age, right? But a 15-year-old Boxenberger 30 years ago, or 28 years ago.
But even think back to young Boxenberger playing Final Fantasy VII for the first time, and now then you give him Final Fantasy VII Remake, and you go, oh!
Whoa. Yeah. I mean, well... I mean,
look at I can see the characters properly.
but hey, at the time, it felt like when you played the first time Final Fantasy VII, you thought. Or I remember I had that with Tomb Raider, the very first Tomb Raider. I was like, Jesus, photorealistic graphics.
Yeah. Whoa, look at these rocks. Look at these trees.
Young, horny Boxenberger sitting there. Oh, boobs in a game. I can see boobs. It was like 2 pixel blocks and that's it. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So basically, I think that goes for every game in this day and age. Every modern game you take back like 30 years ago, people would be absolutely overwhelmed with all the mechanics and stuff. So, but taking that out of the equation, like showing myself like
it would still be the
a handheld runs a game like Crimson Desert with, and that is what world exploration looks like, and discoverability and adventure and crafting your own story and making decisions that matter and things like that, you know?
Yeah.
All right, Dutch.
How this modern generation have it easy.
Yeah, true that. Although, since you mentioned it, now if I think about it, I think when I introduced my kids a couple of years ago to video games, I realized the exact same thing. To a 6-year-old, 5-6-year-old, a lot of games can be overwhelming. Not because of,
but also in the past, and this is another thing that's changed so dramatically. Games back then, you didn't have a lot of it. You didn't have restarts. If you died, you died.
Yeah.
You start from scratch.
Yeah, but
there's a lot more thinking and puzzles to go into it. Everything was okay. This game ends, and then it ends, and that's it. It's done.
Yes.
But now it's just so much. Okay, I'm not actually going to die. It's just going to restart from this checkpoint. And okay, now I can just play this game forever, and there isn't an end to it. Back then, every game ended.
True that, but there's also the fact that games were super short at the time. Like, if you think,
I mean, to say that, I was looking into this the other day because there was somebody put a post up. We're going completely off tangent here. There was somebody put a post up. I think it was on YouTube, and they were saying, "Oh, like games weren't that long back in like the 80s and things like that. The games are super long now." I was like, believe it or not, some of the biggest games that released back in the tail end of the 80s, the 90s, even the early thousands, were still between 30 to 80 plus hours.
Yes, absolutely.
There was still some absolute juggernauts in there, and Final Fantasies were one of them. Like Final Fantasy still had at least 100 hours worth of gameplay, at least.
It did, but I think that was already the period where we transitioned over into games being long because they have a lot of content, while back in the late 80s, early 90s, games were long. Listen, take an example we talked about the Game Boy. Yeah, one of my favorite games to this day on the Game Boy is Super Mario Brothers, right? Super Mario Land, it was called, right? I played that game at least 100 hours, at least.
Yeah.
Until I beat it, right? And but if you beat the game, actually, you can play through that game in 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was so long because it was so challenging. You died so many times and had to start from scratch because it was so difficult. So the difficulty was for people to actually get their money's worth. Yeah, like in terms of playtime.
Also kind of showed resilience as well, and that's another thing that I think games need to kind of revert to. And I don't mean make them challenging for the sake of making them challenging, but it also builds resiliency with people where they're just like, right, okay, I need to overcome this obstacle. How do I do it? And have to think about it as opposed to just, okay, I can just refresh from thing, or it gives us all my life back, or it gives us all this. And so a lot of modern games now will be like, okay, you refresh and you start at the checkpoint, you've got all your lives back, and you're good as new, and now we can go and challenge it.
Yeah.
Or to have like waypoints, like when Zelda came out, etc., there wasn't waypoints. There wasn't like this is where you need to go. You had to figure it out, or you had to find a manual online or buy a game guide that would be able to help you figure out where you need to go.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't like waypoints in game. There wasn't like grab holes where you knew exactly where to go. You just had to figure it out.
Yeah, true.
And I think that's part of the reason why games are also shortened down in some way these days, because they have a lot of hand-holdy things in them now. Telling you where to go. Like, God of War was slated for it, especially the new one, Ragnarok, because Atreus just kept telling you how to solve the puzzles if you left him for like 10 seconds. He was like, why don't you fire at this over here? You're like, why don't you shut up and just let us figure it out?
Yeah. I had the same problem with Horizon Forbidden West. Like, in every room Aloy entered, she was like, oh, what happens if I move this box to this side of the room? Thank you for spoiling that. But resilience is a very big thing that we've lost in a lot of ways. Maybe that's why I enjoyed Crimson Desert so much. It's not that Crimson Desert is a like particularly challenging game or so. Not at all.
I think that's also why a lot of people still arch towards Souls-like games, because it does require a lot of resilience.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's the non-hand holding,
Yeah.
And you can do that
especially through what's it's called, the big open world Souls game. What was that called again? Elden Ring.
Yeah.
That one didn't tell you where to go.
No,
it's just like, go. Like, what am I meant to do now? I've got no idea where I'm meant to go.
Yeah.
It doesn't even tell you. There isn't even a hint, a slight hint. Someone tell me where I need to go.
It was actually, even to me, at points frustrating when you have to, and that tells you we are already trained in that way. We don't have the patience anymore to figure that out. And you're sitting there, damn, I don't know where to go. Okay, just Google it real quick. Yeah, I think again that's why Crimson Desert is so good. It doesn't have that hand-holding aspect per se, but it tells you just enough so you can figure it out in a decent amount of time, and it still invites you to explore. But if you want to follow a quest line, you're not left completely alone, but still enough to feel a little challenge, not in terms of difficulty, but in terms of, okay, how do I solve this riddle, or how do I get to this place, or, just an awesome game, man. You need to play that. All right, Dutch.
Yes.
Let's wrap things up.
Let's.
Yeah, well above the 3-hour mark already. But it has been an absolute blast, as always, to chat with you and our awesome community.
We do need to have a random show at some point where we just talk about retro.
Yes.
Yeah. For a while.
Absolutely. We said that a couple of weeks ago, and we definitely need to.
Yeah.
We need to find the right time. To address that.
We'll do it on one of the weeks where it's just dead and there's no news.
Yeah.
Say, okay, this week we're just going to talking retro.
Yeah. Talking retro, a retro special. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. I want to say a big thank you to our awesome community. And I truly do mean it. I know we always say that, but I truly do mean it. It means a lot that you guys show up here every week. It means a lot that you tune in on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, where we also have a very, very stable community that tune into the podcast. And I am truly grateful for that. I wouldn't have thought many years ago when we started this, right, that anyone would be interested into our opinions and views of things. And so it does really mean a lot that you guys show up here, interact in the chat, or just listening. We super appreciate you guys. Dutch, do you want to get something off the chest before we let everyone out of here?
No, I'm all good.
Alrighty.
I'm all good.
All right. So then we hope to see you guys next week again, next Thursday. Regular time, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK time, or 8 p.m. Central Europe. You guys take care. At least here in Germany, we have a long weekend ahead. So do enjoy the weekend. Play some games. There's plenty of good stuff out there to play at the moment. And yeah, we hope to see you guys next week. Don't forget to game on.